Nige, we're not going to talk about the Jack Catterall so-called loss. You've already stated that on quite a few occasions, your opinion on that. I'm going to go about the good news, because the kid that you have a lot of input with here became the British champion, and not just a British champion, it was the manner that he won it in, mate. It was class, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit of a sweet result after a sour few weeks, but yeah, it was brilliant. It was a performance worthy of a British Championship.
It was.
It's the best belt nationally, internationally. I think it's just a beautiful belt, and it's one that people should be proud of who win it. And there's only 3 fighters from Salford who've won it, and Marc being the 3rd. So it's just a brilliant performance, a brilliant occasion, and a brilliant result. And now he's got to capitalise on that. Now he's got to get a whole city behind him and go on and do big things in the sport, and we believe that he can do.
Again though, we have to go back to your dispute about the last fight prior, you know, with Catterall and Taylor. Scoring was terrible on that, because the wrong man got the result at that time. Luckily enough, on the night, Marc did get the result, but the scorecards were almost as bad.
I agree, yeah.
Because it was a total shutout for me.
Yeah, and listen, the word that frustrates me personally in scoring is subjective, and I understand it's what you like. Certain people like certain things, and so Steve Woods, who's Marc's manager, likes pressure fighters, and then so me and Steve have talked about a lot about how if someone's pressurising, then he would maybe score them. But there's pressurising, chasing after somebody. There's intelligent pressure, and there's just stupidity. And Marc Leach is not a pressure fighter, even though he can do. He's a defensive fighter. He's a counter puncher. He can take the bull by the horns and grab it and go and have a tear up. But why would he when he's so good and his reflexes? But while the right man won, yeah, you have to question is what some people were watching, and on this occasion it was Terry O'Connor. I just don't see it now. In the corner, we had discussions, arguments. Maybe is a bit too strong a word, but we were sort of disagreeing in the corner, and it's a harmonious corner, you know, and it's how we work, and we discuss as we go along quite a lot. And we were questioning the result, which seemed ludicrous, because shutout maybe, and regardless of ex-world champions like Carl Frampton or other, you know, educated people in the sport of boxing, thought that that Ball may have won 1 or 2 rounds. I, erring on the side of caution, gave him 3. So anything that was remotely close, or that Marc hadn't done as much in, or made it clear, then I probably went for Ball. So looking at Terry O'Connell's card, if Ball would have knocked Marc over in the last round, then it would have been a draw. And I'm like, but he can't. Shutout maybe a little bit tough on Chris.
I'm not knocking Chris, but I like him. I like the game as a don't know what. Never stopped going forward, and that was a very, very tough performance by him. But he met Marc Leach on a night where he was untouchable.
I agree, and again, it isn't demeaning Chris. You know, he's a very cute operator. So we knew he was in for a tough fight. And listen, don't get me wrong. I saw the odds before the fight, and I was aghast at it that Marc Leach was 2-1 to win, just to win at any point. I think he was 18-1 to get a stoppage, and 5-2 or 7-2 to win on points. So I'd like to think a lot of Salford cleaned up at the bookies on that night in particular. But listen, bookies don't often get it right. I thought they got it wrong with Catterall. and Taylor, and also with. But obviously they were right with Castle and Taylor apparently. But no, and again, this is not that. And it was very difficult after because it was so raw with us.
Well, I listened to you in the corner, and I was surprised that you were worried about the result. I'm not. I understand why you were, because of what had happened 2 weeks previously. But there was no reason to be. But then again, when the scorecards were announced, then yeah, you were right to worry.
I suppose in all fairness, my honest opinion was it took. I didn't notice it in Scotland that it took a while because we were jumping around, we were celebrating Jack's obvious win in my eyes.
Yeah, until the result was announced, he was you.
Without a doubt. But what I mean is, I didn't notice the time from the adding up of the cards, and it seemed to held quite a long time, a prolonged time when we were sat there, me and Jamie talking about it, and he said it's a bit long this card, and I'm like, oh, not again. But the first card that they announced, I believe, was 117, 111. Which I believe is about right for me. I thought I was being good to Chris. 117, 111 was about right. But they announced that card first. If they'd announced O'Connor's card first, I'd have been really worried. So I was pleased with that. But listen, the right man won, and we can talk about judging forever, and it's never going to get it right. We're never going to get it right. But for me,
he's now beginning to live up to his potential, right? I don't think people remember, because 10 years ago, when he was an amateur, from being 11 years old to being 18, he won absolutely everything. 8 national titles. His first year in the elites, he got all the way to the final, and then
got cut
against Lucy Reed. You know, the kid was outstanding. He was the kid that everyone was speaking about in Manchester. He was, you know, and then his career never really got started. It stopped and started and stopped and started, didn't it?
I think obviously the reason being was his very first fight he lost. So Bobby Jenkinson, who went on to win the Commonwealth Games, you know, he lost in his first fight. So that's a tough debut for anybody.
Well, yeah, it was because 2 fights later became the Commonwealth champion.
That's right. And so from that, so that's the level. And so maybe, you know, there's a reason for that. So and he's lost his first fight, and then I believe his 11th, 12th he drew.
That was over in South Africa,
in Zimbabwe. But and obviously I took him over there, and never in a million years did he draw that fight. And they announced it as a loss to him, in all fairness. So we were in the ring in Zimbabwe, and they announced him as a loser. And I went obviously as mad as I did in Scotland. And in all fairness, we recalled it and said, "Come have the cards." And as the cards were added up, they'd added up the cards wrong. The cards were wrong anyway because they marked them up wrong, but they added up the cards wrong and it was actually a draw. So they had to re-announce it. I'm like, are you mad? What sort of Mickey Mouse outfit are you running here? But so they announced it as a draw, and it was never a draw. Genuinely, it was never a draw. So obviously his record can be deceptive. People will look at it, and he's never been seen as the biggest puncher. You know, he's. But
just before that, on the show before the Jolly Boys, the AJ Bell, you know, he got a stoppage in 26 seconds with the count.
Yeah, and the kid's usually quite durable. Well, but and again, and people can have off days and on days. Marc Leach is a potential talent. He's a potential superstar. He's a potential genuine household name, and God willing.
Do you feel if he would have come over from America, right, and put on that performance, you know, at the York Hall, I think everyone would have been talking about him in a different light, you know, who's this kid? This kid's special, this is that, you know, but because he's from Salford and no one really...
Maybe, but...
And obviously, Marc's quite a shy guy, really. He's not very outspoken, is he? He don't go shouting his mouth off or shouting people out or anything like that, but his talent is superb, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. He really is, you know, Salford should be grasping him and carrying him to the streets at the moment, because he really is. And listen, he's not in here today. He's got a bit of an itch on his knuckle, but so he's having that looked at today. That's why he's not in. But listen, the future is really, really rosy for him. You know, it's bright, and hopefully he can capitalise that. You know, he's got a wedding to pay for soon, so hopefully he can go out and earn a few quid, and and really become a household name, because we genuinely believe that he can be.
Well, I remember Frampton when he first turned up here, didn't he? Well, was it 4 years ago, whenever he first walked through the doors, and his first thing was like, wow, who is this kid, and why do I not know about him?
Yeah, Carl commented on Marc as being the most, how he's never seen anyone move from southpaw to orthodox so flawlessly, and you don't actually know what stance he is, whether he's southpaw or orthodox. So he really is, he's gifted, and Carl was working on both occasions in those 2 weekends on Jack and Josh and Marc and Chris. And the first one he was saying, I've never seen anyone as good as Jack Cattrall. And then the week after he had to say sort of pretty much the same, saying, well, but Marc Leach is just a phenomenal, I've never seen anyone do the things he can do. Marc Leach doesn't know what he's doing, he really doesn't. The shots that he throws, so it's a nightmare when you pad, because you don't know what's coming next. But it's a blessing. It's a blessing that he can do it, and we'll see. Listen, he's got to do the work now. Now he's got a target on his back, and people are going to try and.
Because no one really wanted to touch him, did they?
No one did.
Forced to. Now people have got to come to him because he's got.
Now he's got currency, and so the currency is that he's now British champion, and he wants to win that belt outright. And the Super Bantamweight division is flourishing, and Marc Leach is a Bantamweight, let's have it right. So Marc Leach can still do Bantamweight, can do Super Bantamweight, could probably do featherweight if he wanted to. You know, the world's his oyster, so opportunity came at Super Bantamweight and he grasped it, and now he's British champion. He's still a Bantamweight, he can still make Bantamweight quite easily, and so he could be a two-time British champion if he wanted to be, but it's not about that, it's about him now.
Was it more special for you though, Nigel? Because, you know, obviously he was trained by your old coach, Oliver Harrison, and he was there from being a boy, you know, because he was a kickboxer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a kickboxer, Muay Thai, Thai boxer.
Obviously you've known him since he was a little baby, and now you've seen him develop into being a British champion. Did that make it all the more special?
Yeah, definitely. And listen, and Jamie called it right when in the interview afterwards, ringside. You know, he gave all credit to Oliver Harrison, because, you know, you can't teach what Marc Leach has got, and Oliver managed to do that when he was 8 years old, 9 years old in the gym, and so it's Oliver's success, you know, as well as our success. But as you say, it just makes it, you know, makes you even more proud. He's our first British champion in this gym, you know, that we've trained together.
Yeah, because you've only really produced world champions, haven't you?
Well, you know, I know. Listen, this is as special as it gets. You know, this is as special as it gets for the gym.
And like you say, the last Soul Fordium was, you know, your name.
Yeah. So when Oliver was poorly, so we were just biding time with Marc Leach, looking after him, and Rocky and Martin and everybody, while Oliver was poorly. And God rest his soul. You know, Oliver passed, and so the boys have stayed here with us. But you know, it's proud for us to carry on the legacy of Oliver Harrison, because, you know, and if you can show yourself as half as good as he was, then, you know, I'd like to think that we'll show ourselves as quite decent coaches.
Right, well listen, congratulations, like I said, we'll catch up with Marc. Hopefully he'll bring the belt in to show me, because it is a beautiful, beautiful piece of hardware. And good luck for what's next for this place. What we got? Any big Chantel? Is she still
Chantel's, yeah, Chantel's supposed to be out in May, we believe. Larone could be out before the end of April. It's not confirmed yet. And they're just all coming in dribs and drabs now. So Jack Carroll's having a holiday, well earned rest, comes back today. Gone out to Dubai, watched the Regas Pro Day, Tyrone McKenna fight on Saturday evening, Sonny Edwards. Yeah, so all systems go really. It's just a busy gym, and we're just happy to be here doing it.
Nigel, always a pleasure, mate. You take care.
God bless.
Bye.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.